So the Winter Festival is now over. I hope you got what you wanted from there. If you farmed your ass off, well, you probably got a ton of preservation wards, and that's the real takeaway from the Winter Festival. But this week is pretty straightforward and simple, but there's a lot you can do. We have ×2 currency for legacy campaigns. That means double currency for any of these. At this point, there are 8 different ones in the game. Each allow you to do different things to take advantage of different items, different currencies, and a lot of them have like keys you can create for certain content to unlock chests to give you extra rewards. So let's cover everything you could be doing in this week to make the most of it. This will also cover some weeks where you end up with just a civic campaign, which is ×2. For example, next week we get ×2 currency just within Dreadring. The following week after that, it's within Icewind Dale. And that'll go on as a rotation. Every week there's usually a ×2 event of some campaign or another. And then every block you end up with ×2 to all of them. So what should you be doing? Well, very simply, there's this whole list here, and let's run through it. We start out with legacy campaign quests, getting boon points, and spending genie gifts. Legacy campaign quests are from Sabella up here. You want to go to her on all your characters, and every week she's going to give you a bunch of these weekly quests. Pick them up. What they will require you to do is certain things within certain legacy campaign areas. You can check in your journal the quest place here. It should be within Protector's Enclave, and I have at this point a ton of different ones that I can go and do. It can be very advantageous, mainly because of the medallions they give you and the glyphs that she can give you through those medallions. 10 medallions, 1 glyph. You can also get legendary enchanting stones if they're expensive for you. But what you can do is select a certain legacy campaign and get bonus currency whenever you complete those quests. So for example, I want Dreadring, so I want extra currency within Dreadring. We have that. So whenever we go hand in one of these quests that we complete, we'll get extra currency for that campaign. Again, it can be very advantageous to do those, mainly for the items in her store. You will not get twice as much of the, let's say, the medallions, and you might be tempted to save the quests to hand them in during this week, but I'd be very careful with that, because when a new module releases, they have gone and a lot of the time made it so that all your quests, the progress on them was reset. So if you're waiting with the quest ready to hand it in, that progress might just get reset and you'll have to do the whole quest again. So I would just hand them in when you're done with them. But this week you'll get double the currency of that bonus currency as well. And so that's very useful. You also can get a ton of boon points from these legacy campaigns. In fact, a total of 41 boon points. So you'll go complete those and get all the points to put into these slots here. And you can see exactly here the amount of, let's say, genie gifts would be required to get the boon points, how many boon points each campaign can give, how many, let's say, genie gifts you'd need to spend to get those boon points. Just be aware this is during the ×2 event where everything is like halved. And what you can do as well with the legacy campaigns to get the boon points faster is to use, well, you need to create a sigil and then use it on what character you want it on, and then all the costs of the things basically get halved. And so you'll go through all of them and they all have these boon points you can grab. But a lot of grinding needs to be done for those. I wouldn't rush it. It's not such a big deal. Take your time and just get them eventually. But this week, it's double the currency for any of them that you choose. Next up, yeah, spend those genie gifts. So you can spend them on boon points, but you can also spend them just to get currency for other items from that legacy campaign, which we're going to cover now. So for example, Dreadring. What you can do is you can farm Dread Legion for layer keys, basically. You're trying to get the scripts. You'll get 12 per run of just the skirmish Dread Legion. jump in there, go and get it completed, and once you go and get your chest, you get those 12 Vanguard scripts, allowing you to basically get a key. And Dreadring is pretty much the best place to get enchanting stones from these layers on these certain days, and you want to do this during the ×2 refining stone event, so you get twice as many enchanting stones. So grind the currency, do that now to prepare, and buy your thin layer keys. So you can just farm that skirmish for that. You can of course just do quests for those keys as well. You can convert the spare ciphers into scripts. So that's going to the campaign. You're going to want to do this task up here, and it's going to give you 30 Vanguard scripts, but it takes 20 hours to complete this. You can also do this section here and get a voucher. Unfortunately, the value of the voucher is pretty low, only 200 guild marks or 400 during an event, but it'll help your guild out. And you can also go and get the Valindra Tower keys. So if you run that dungeon a lot, or you just run it whenever you get it, let's say in a random dungeon queue, then you will at least have the key to take advantage of the loot within there. Let's say it's Dungeon Delvers, then it can be useful to spend that key. But moving on, we have Storm King's Thunder. Here you can play heroics for Blood, and you can create runic keys for Fanbreaker Island and the Spellplague Caverns. So you'll go to your campaign, you'll be able to create your runic keys here using this currency. You'll have to do quests for that, and the Blood, you'll generally get the most of it by doing heroic encounters. If you have a high level character, you can probably solo those heroic encounters, or you might want some friends to make it even a whole lot smoother. But yeah, you can also go get these glyphs, but they're very useless. I wouldn't go and do so. There's some stuff in the store, but generally not useful either, except perhaps the Everfrost set, shirt and pants for tanks. I'll cover those later probably. But moving on to Icewind Dale, you can get Corrupt Overloads, Castle Retreat keys, and Frozen Treasure vouchers. Also not worth very much, but again, that's all in the campaign here. You can do this task for getting those overloads. You can also just buy the overloads, like the corrupt ones are very useful for getting your action point regeneration, and you'll be surprised how long they actually last for. Then here you can get the voucher. It can be a bit costly, and I personally wouldn't, because it's worth very little as well. Only 200 guild marks, 400 on the thing, but I guess it's something passive you can do if you have the spare currency. Or you can get these Castro's Retreat keys, and I guess I may as well do that there. Then with the Cloak Ascendancy, you can buy your Mirage weapons. There are other weapon sets you can buy as well. And then you can buy the runic keys again for Fanbreaker Island and the Spellplague Caverns. It's just you cannot take advantage of this to, let's say, get your Mirage weapons any faster other than buying them here. Because in order to restore them, you need a whole host of other reagents, and you won't get twice as many during this event. To get those runic keys though, you can't do it through the campaign here. You have to actually go to the zone, and it has to be at the right time. You will go down to the docks here, and the treasure ship has to be active, and then you'll have a vendor right here. You look on the minimap, this is the treasure ship. It's 20% complete. When that's full, you'll get him to come here and you can buy a key. Next up is Jungles of Chult. You can do the skirmish, Merchant Prince's Folly. This will get you a ton of currency, so you just jump in here, farm this over and over. You can also get the Batiri companion by doing that. That's over 900,000, very useful. And by doing that skirmish, you will end up with the currency here to create your Chultan keys and your Merchant Prince's Folly keys. The Chultan keys you'll use within your Tomb of the Nine Gods dungeon, and then you can do quests and stuff to get your Omu keys to do your Cradle of the Death God trial. You can see you get those keys there. One key you'll spend already in the Merchant Prince's Folly. Just farming that skirmish, you'll get enough currency easily to create a lot of those keys. And there is a store here as well that you can spend some currency. You could go and get the Pioneer weapons. They are somewhat useful in a party, and you could go and get like the shirt and pants just for transmutes. And then there is the Primal Boots for damage dealers to get action points back when you kill an enemy. It can be useful for multi-target content. And then we just have Ravenloft, Descent Avernus, and Path of the Fallen. They have the keys for their respective trials and dungeons. Castle Ravenloft with Ravenloft. Descent into Avernus, you have the Infernal Citadel key. That dungeon you probably won't get very often. And Path of Fallen, the Zariel's Challenge. That one you also might not get very often. Both are not in, let's say, the random queues. But very simply, you're going to have to do weeklies quests and just repeatable quests to get the currency to do these. You won't be able to do heroics for that currency. Again, here with Descent into Avernus and then with Zariel's Challenge. All of them you can usually only do this task once per day, getting your keys. You'll want to save currency. Like here, for example, we have the currency, but we can't get the keys again. You have to wait a day. So it's about like storing up currency, and then for the days you don't want to bother farm any, you have it ready to go for the keys. That is ultimately legacy campaigns in a nutshell on what you should be doing. This whole list here. Doing the top thing there with the legacy campaign quests, I highly recommend, and just set your bonus to whatever campaign you want the bonus currency for. Again, you're getting medallions with those, and you're getting the ability to buy, let's say, glyphs if you wanted to, without needing to spend Astral Diamonds where you would normally obtain them from the auction house or the bazaar. So hopefully this was insightful to at least some of you. A massive thank you to all of these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.